It was October of 2021. I was working full-time for an animal rescue and running my own business. My average days were 16 to 18 hours. But every single day, I felt myself falling further and further behind. I was overwhelmed. I was short with absolutely everyone. And I was crying constantly. One evening, I was driving down the road running an errand for the rescue. I became mesmerized by the headlights of the oncoming cars. A thought popped into my head. If I just crossed over that median, this would all be over like that. I had never been so afraid of my own thoughts. Even in the throes of a clinical depression in my late 20s, I had never been suicidal. I pulled over to the side of the road to calm down, catch my breath. And in that moment, I knew something had to give. What about you? Have you ever experienced an oncoming headlight moment? Have you ever felt so overwhelmed, so depressed, like you're taking care of everyone but yourself? If that resonates, you are in line with what most of my clients say and what I was experiencing back in 2021. But we love to say we're busy, don't we? It's almost a badge of honor in this society. Look, it's wonderful to be passionate about your business, your career, your family. It's wonderful to do everything in your power to be a success. But if we do too much, it's not healthy for us, and it's not healthy for our businesses and our families. What if the next time someone asked you how you were doing, instead of saying, "Oh, I'm busy," what if you said, "I'm peaceful and thriving"? Doesn't that sound better? Today, you are going to learn about boundaries. You're going to learn how to make your priorities a priority. You are going to learn how to say no when you really want to say no. So let's dive in. If you've ever been a fan of punk rock music, then it's likely that you enjoy The Clash. Well, I put my own spin on their probably most famous song. I call it the Clash question. Should I yay or should I no? This is a system you can use to determine whether or not you want to say yay or yes to an opportunity, an invitation, or a request. The Clash question is broken down into 3 different parts. The first, do I want to or have to? The second, do you have the resources available? And the third, are you willing to give up something else? Now here's the thing. In order to say yay to an opportunity, your answer to all 3 parts has to be yes. Let's go further into it. Do I want to or have to? Okay, look, for some people, this is super easy. Either you want to do something and can't imagine not doing it, or you'd rather stick pins in your eyes. It's pretty straightforward. But for some of us, it's not quite as clear cut. We're not sure if we actually want to do something for ourselves or if we're just afraid of saying no to someone else. We want to people please. If that resonates with you, we're going to go deeper. Do you want to? Does it lead towards your goals? Get you closer towards what you want to accomplish? Is it fun? Is it something that you enjoy doing? Or is it something that you really want to do for someone else out of the kindness of your heart, out of love, not out of fear? That'll help you get closer to whether or not you want to do something. But for some people, that's still not enough. Still can't tell if we really want to do it. And if that's the case, we need to go back to something that happened a couple of months ago. I was sitting having lunch with a friend of mine. She was currently in a Weight Watchers program, and she said that her leader told them that we've all got a sigh, that when we're done eating, or we should be done eating, we sigh. It's our natural body's reaction to fullness. And my friend looked at her leader and said, I just don't have that sigh. But then a few days later, she was eating and she sighed. And I'm listening to this story and I'm thinking, oh, this is so great for you, but I don't have a sigh. And wouldn't you know it, a few days later, there I was eating a big bowl of pasta, and I sighed. Look, I'm not sharing this to give you dieting tips in the middle of your boundaries, although it could help if you need it. I'm sharing this because sometimes our brains don't know something, but our bodies do. Now, you're going to have your own sigh. Maybe it's a grumble in your stomach. Maybe your throat tightens. Maybe you feel heart palpitations when someone asks you to do something and you don't think you want to do it. Figure out your sigh and then pay attention because your body knows. Now, what about if you have to do something? Again, clear cut for some, not as much for others. Some of you may think, yes, that is super easy, whether or not I have to do something. While others, well, we think everything is a have to do. If that's the case, go deeper. Is whatever you're being asked to do life or death? If you don't do it, will you lose a big project, a big client, or your job? Or is it something for someone else that they cannot do, and you are responsible for taking care of them? Maybe it's a small child. Maybe it's an elderly parent. The fact is, if you don't want to or have to do something, the answer is no. Now let's move on to the second part of the clash question. Do you have the resources available? Whether we like to admit it or not, everything we choose to do takes something. It takes time, it takes energy, it takes money, emotional or mental bandwidth. And if you don't have the resources available to carry it out to completion, it is irresponsible to say yes. You may want to people please in the moment, but when you're unable to carry that out at either the expense of their respect or your own, you will disappoint someone. So if you don't have the resources, the answer is no. Finally, the third part of the clash question. Are you willing to give something else up? In his book, 4,000 Weeks, Oliver Burkeman talks about the fact that we only have 4,000 weeks on this planet. Take a moment and let that settle in. The average person only has 4,000 weeks to make their mark on this planet. That is depressing because it means we are not going to get everything done. But it's also uplifting because it means we are not going to get everything done. We have to choose wisely. We have to make our priorities a priority. The hard truth is that, going back to those resources, when we say yes to one thing, we have to say no to something else. Now, whether that one thing is maybe you want to stay late at work, you want to work harder on your business, you want to put more effort into a client or a project, but what are you saying no to? You may miss your kid's baseball game. You may not be able to hang out with friends that you haven't seen in months. Or you just may miss some quality snuggle time on the couch with your dog watching Netflix and relaxing. When you say yes to something, you say no to something else. So if you're not willing to give up something else, your answer is no. Look, there is no reason to be overwhelmed, exhausted, and to feel like you're not caring for yourself. Use the clash question. Use it to determine what your next step is, what your answer is when you've been given an opportunity. I'll leave you with this thought. It's from a very wise, very old pile of garbage. That's the trash heap from Jim Henson's Fraggle Rock. And the trash heap says, yes means yes, and no means no. If it's not a big yes, it's a no-go.